This was supposed to be fun. It's not fun. Ayo, Ashleigh Monet here. We are picking up where we left off last week, although it is still the same day for me. Phoebe and I just finished having our lunch. It took us a little longer than I thought, so we're picking up right around 1 o'clock this afternoon. And theoretically, we're going all the way till 9. We'll see how I feel at 9. Maybe I will make up the time that I lost taking a nap. We'll see. Oh, also, if you guys didn't see part 1, watch that before watching this one. I feel like that goes without saying, but I'm saying it. So now that it's after lunch, we're going to go ahead and move forward with the original plan of doing the clay crafts. I feel like they're smaller, they're a little bit more fun. Hopefully that'll keep my interest peaked because I am definitely feeling the post-lunch crash. So hopefully those will get me through it. I know I'll get a second wind about the time that Cody gets home from work. And once I'm there, I'll go ahead and jump back into doing paintings for the frames. So yeah, that is the plan. So first up, I have this little desk decoration that I got at a thrift shop. You can see it was priced at about $2.50, but I actually got it on a half off day, so $1.25 is what I paid. Pretty cool. But it just kind of stands like this, and it's a little pencil cup with some wiggity-whack pencils sticking out, but I kind of got a kick out of its little stay sharp pun. So this is really just a sticker, but it's stuck on like a second layer of wood, which I really don't get. Like, why is this here? Let me just go ahead and pop that top layer off. Easier said than done. This sucker was on there, but a little wood glue is no match for me and my Hulk-like strength. Yup, victory. And after some very unsatisfying attempts at peeling off this sticker, I resigned myself to the fact that this busted side was just going to be the back, and I should focus on the other side instead. I sketched out what I wanted to do with this little pencil cup, which was recreate the pencils, but make them less wonky and sculpt the cup into a cute little voodoo doll. Like I said, I was a fan of the stay sharp pun and wanted to keep it, so I was trying to think of a way to incorporate something creepy with that. I thought of voodoo dolls getting stuck with sharp pins, and then I thought the pencils could be like the pins. I don't know. In my head, it made sense. But now it was time for the clay. Again, I used Sculpey air dry clay and just kind of started rolling a bunch of balls and positioned them to match my sketch, creating almost like a little marshmallow man. Here, I'm just taking a variety of tools with no rhyme or reason, trying to shape it the way my brain wanted it to look. I'm just the worst to talk about sculpting, like I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just rolling with it and hoping that when I'm finished, I won't want to throw this in the trash. That is my goal. I wanted to give my little guy kind of a grid-like burlappy texture, so I used this little grid wire cup to roll across it, creating a texture, but it definitely looks less fabric-y and way more scaly. Boo. Here's a part I actually like, though. I made little buttons for his eyes, and oh my gosh, they actually ended up looking kind of legit. But yeah, other than the buttons, not too impressive here, I'm aware. I did think, though, that the paint could perhaps save this one. Fast forward to the clay being dry, his little button eyes popped off during the drying, but that actually made the painting process a little easier, so I'm not mad at it. No biggie. I wanted to paint my voodoo doll. Let's call him Voodoo Victor, yes. I wanted to paint him a nice puke green color. With some dirty patches, of course. And then the background for this cup needed to be black. I did a full coat of the background minus this corner here. No clue why I didn't paint that corner, but now that I am watching it, I'm very triggered by it. Like, why is that corner naked and I'm just leaving it? I don't know, maybe the green paint was wet and I didn't want to pull it into the black, but it is very annoying nonetheless. Okay, fun little tidbit. It's 1:40 right now and I am in the middle of painting and Cody just like came home early, took off work and brought me Jamba Juice. I have the best husband ever. So great, because I was really losing steam, but this is just like the little pick-me-up I think I needed. Okay, where were we? Oh yes, onto the pencils. The standard yellow pencil just would not suit the color palette I wanted for my wall, so instead I made them those natural wood pencils, you know? I will say that the more I stared at these pencils, the more I saw Scrump from Lilo and Stitch with her little hair spikes. But hey, now I finally took care of that corner, and at long last, we can all relax. Because it was bothering you too, right? It wasn't just me, it was you too. Now time to use paint pen to add an outline and some fun little details, like little patches and stitches all over Voodoo Victor. And now I get to add my favorite, that stay sharp, back into the design. Fun stuff. And here he is, all finished. I like him very much, and I definitely didn't drop this, causing the corner to break off right before filming my after shots. That would be stupid and embarrassing if that happened. Okay, the next clay craft I'm going to tackle is this itty bitty terracotta plant pot. For this one, I kind of wanted to take my little plant monsters and make another for myself, but this one, we're gonna up the creep factor. I'm gonna start by sculpting one big ol' eyeball to go right in the center. And then I added the eyelids and just kind of blended them into the rest of the pot and fiddle-faddled around trying to get them to look right. I actually feel that part went pretty okay. I might not be as bad at clay as I thought I was. Next, I wanted to add some tentacles for the actual plant part. I made them just by rolling clay ropes, you know, got smaller at the tips. And the way I'm totally sure pro clay sculptors do, you know, just kind of shoved them into the pot. Fast forward, it is now dry. You can see that while it was drying, I used a dotting tool to kind of add circular little depressions along the tentacles, you know, to kind of create those little suction cups. I also reinforced the tentacle position by filling the voids in the pot with hot glue. But now we can start the painting. I chose black for the inside of the pot. I'm going to use it for the outside of the pot too, but I needed this bit to dry first. While it did, I switched over to green for the eye. I was super excited to try my hand at making a realistic 3D eyeball for this one, which is why I created that little concave depression right in the center. That's how an eyeball actually is, with a clear convex cornea over it. I was just hoping it would come together in the end. Wasn't totally convinced. But since I had the green currently in use, I went ahead and painted those tentacles. First a dark green for the base, and then went in with a lighter green on the underside of the tentacles, and then the lightest light green around each of those little suction cups. Ooh. That looks awesome. Okay, time to go to town with that black. Okay, now that's done. Time to create the cornea now. Most people do this with a UV resin. Do I have any? No. But you know what I do have? UV gel polish, a light to cure that, and a whole lot of patience. So I would just dab a little polish, cure it, dab a little more, cure that, and dab and cure over and over and over until I had this. I love this little plant monster. I'm pretty happy with the eye. I don't think I needed to add a shine on it though, because now that kind of battles the real shine of the resin or polish. But otherwise it came out the way I wanted. I love the tentacles, and this will be a fun little decorative element for my wall. All right, this is the last of the clay crafts and my favy. I took this slightly larger terracotta pot, and rather than eyes, I wanted to give this one a mouth. Y'all know I used to work in dental and I have a thing for teeth, so I went ahead and used a few that I had on this guy. I started by basically creating a dental ridge with clay and setting the teeth in place. Shaped the gingiva a little bit. That was kind of tricky. But then I took the teeth out for the drying process. Now, if you're wondering why not just leave them in place, I honestly just didn't want to deal with the hassle of painting around them once the clay was dry. So now I can focus on the rest of the mouth. This pot needed lips. And I formed those lips kind of doing like that angry grrr face, you know, baring the teeth. A little more shaping and fine tuning, some dry time, and this is what we're working with for the painting. I started with the inside of the mouth, making it black, and then for the gums, adding tones of like maroon and pink. I wanted them to look fleshy, but still dark and dingy. And like the other pot, this one is also going to be black. Okay, now came the time to set the teeth. Not me using 2 remotes to prop my pot up and keep it steady. Use what you got. I'm so thankful that for this project, I wanted these teeth to look gnarly and misaligned because honestly, I could not get them placed exactly as I had them before. I was attaching them with super glue and they were just so slippery. They kept slipping off into the glue and then sticking to my tweezers, and it was stressful. I kind of just put them however they would fit, and they ended up looking even more jacked up and misaligned than I wanted, but it worked. Happy accidents. But let's just say the struggle was real. Now, I wanted to make the teeth look real gross and decayed, so I went in with some paint and just kind of made them look worse. This is not a mouth you're gonna wanna have, okay? Kids, brush your teeth. And to finish it off right, I took that same method of gel polish from my last pot and slathered it all over the mouth to make it look super wet and glossy, just full of spit and ugh. Light cured it, added a little fake IKEA plant to it, and this is the finished product. I don't have the words to express how much I love it. Like, I know it's weird and gross and only a handful of people will appreciate it the way that I do, but this may very well be my favorite thing I made for my wall. Well, it's about to be 6 o'clock. All of the clay crafts are done, but oh my God, they took so long. I am definitely moving at a snail's pace right now. I've completely lost steam, so I feel like I'm going about half the speed that I normally would. Cody just left to go get dinner, and when he gets back, I'm going to take my dinner break and get back to it. I theoretically only have 3 hours left, but I have 3 paintings left to do. And then the book craft. Maybe I'll do the book now while I'm waiting for dinner. I don't think I have enough time. The question is, do I take more time and make up for the time I lost on my nap, or just call it at 9 regardless? We'll see how I feel at 9, I guess. This is not fun. This was supposed to be fun. It's not fun. Okay, this book. I'm sorry to have skipped ahead and started ripping it apart already, but I needed to know what the heck it was. I bought it from the thrift store like this, and couldn't tell exactly what was going on with it. Like, the whole thing was kind of hard, but the pages had some give, so I pulled that first layer off to find this. Like, it is an actual book that someone painted something on top of to solidify it. So weird. My plan for this book was to hollow it out to make room for some plants, kind of like this. But this process just got a lot more complicated. I started hacking away at the pages, and I was just not prepared for the chaos that would come next. Hours later, with little progress to show for my effort, but oh, a fun little gash on my finger. Battle wounds, am I right? But my goodness, this book just gets weirder and weirder. It is not, in fact, one book treated to be kind of plasticine, but rather many, many pages from all different types of literature. Like, that's a magazine, and that's a newspaper, all fashioned together. Like, who out there made this and why? I have so many questions. So it's almost 8 o'clock. We are in the home stretch, and this book is kicking my butt. And then what does Phoebe do? She broke one of my frames. The nicest one, my favorite one, with what was going to be my favorite picture in it. This is so awesome. Okay, recalibrating. I decided to Mod Podge a bunch of those random cutout paper pieces all over this spread to hide the torn, empty bits. Then I wanted to paint them to look kind of distressed, but ooh, that's way too dark. Do less, Ashleigh, do less. All right, that's good. Now I need to paint this cutout void black. Well, it's official. We have hit 9 o'clock. I was hoping to be done by now. Crazy to think I literally started painting 24 hours ago and have not stopped, except for 3.5 hours to sleep. The evening is in a downward spiral right now between
this book from hell
that I am still working on, Phoebe destroying my frame. I ended up kicking over a bunch of paint a little bit ago. Like, things are just not going good for your girl. That being said, now that Phoebe broke the frame, I had 3 paintings left to do. Now that I have no frame for one, I'm not going to do it, so I only have 2 to do. And the person in me is just not going to let me stop, even though it's 9 o'clock. I have to finish. I've got 2 paintings left. Like, I'm going to finish. So I guess I'll be tacking the 3.5 hours from my nap onto the end of my time, working until 12:30, or I finish, whichever comes first. And then I will excitedly go to bed.
I can't wait.
All right, the last step in finishing this off is adding the plants. Pretty straightforward. I just hot glued a bunch of little fake plant bits and bobs in an aesthetic way. But my favorite part was this little succulent that I saved for last. Like, that finished it off with just chef's kiss. The first piece I'm gonna knock out is this jackalope. See, this was the one that was supposed to go in that fancy frame that Phoebe wrecked, but I was so attached to it that I had to readjust and come up with a plan to do it in the large rectangular frame instead. I thought it wouldn't be too difficult. I would just proceed with the jackalope as planned, then cut it out and glue it to a background that would fit in the new frame, which I would figure out later. I decided to use marker for this one, which made it go fairly quickly. I just made him a classic gray. And I wanted him to have glowing white eyes, but I don't think I made them quite white enough. Like, they look real gray. It's almost blending with the bunny. I started coloring the antlers and, I just couldn't deal. I had to black out the eyes instead. I hoped that would make them look a little creepier, but then I finished those antlers and it was on to thickening the lines and adding some more fine line details. Used colored pencils to add some detail and depth, and then added a couple of juicy highlights. But I don't know, those eyes just weren't doing it for me.
They have to be creepier.
So I switched back to white, giving myself a little bit of whiplash over here. But I cut him out, and then it was onto the background, which I wanted to keep super simple. I started with a tan wash over the whole thing, and then used black to create drips all across that top edge, going down. Ugh, love that look. Glued on my jackalope, threw it in a frame, and here it is. I don't know, there's something about it I'm not sold on, but I'm honestly way too tired at this point to try and troubleshoot. Okay, we're finally on to the last painting I need to wrap this up. This one was inspired by that first commission I did that I loved so much, the zombie with the pizza. I wanted that vibe, but had to make it my own. So let me start with the liner. In deciding what my zombie would be paired with, I had to go with coffee. Coffee is my pizza equivalent. I thrive on it. It is my lifeblood. The day gets better the moment I have coffee. So my zombie is going to be a little barista whipping up a lovely cappuccino. I went with watercolor for the painting portion, just bringing this guy to life. Wait, can I bring him to life if he's technically dead? Okay, I had to point out this fun little detail. He's making some cappuccino art, and what is he pouring? It was supposed to be a skull, but making it wavy to look like it's poured into liquid definitely made it look like Ghostface from Scream. That's okay though, I like that too. It works. Now let me go back through and add some boldness to the line work. And punch up those colors with a little bit of colored pencil. And hey, why not a little marker too? And as a last little touch to tie the zombie and coffee themes together, I added the phrase death before decaf, which accurate. And now it's juicy highlight time. Well, he's done and framed. I love him. Let's get him on the wall. It is almost 2:30 and I'm finally done. I started this challenge 29 and a half hours ago. If you factor my 3.5 hour nap this morning, that means I've been painting for the last 26 hours of my conscious life. That's crazy. It was cool to get so much done, but I feel awful. Yeah, everything's up. Everything's up. I'm gonna have to film after shots tomorrow though. I don't have it in me tonight. No. Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching me suffer through this challenge. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye. Oh, also, I did completely forget to make Cody's anniversary gift in this 24 hours. I hid my supplies for it that first night so he wouldn't see them, but I guess I hid them so well I didn't see them either, and in my sleep-deprived haze, like it was completely forgotten. I did make it the next day, and it was a bit of a disaster, so maybe it was all for the best that I didn't record it.